Greetings, this is your buddy Jim. Welcome to Sawlogs Plastic Hubs, and this is a part one of a two-part video. I put a little more detail in this video, and sometimes I do. So what we got, if you're familiar with my knurling operation, I have a scissors knurler, and in the past it was just mounted to a block that I had modified. You may have seen it in an earlier video, and it's a regular tool block. Well, what that done, you would have loose motion right here. So I seen a video by a fellow YouTuber, Winky's Workshop, where he has a lot of rigidity issues. So basically what he does is he'll make a mount so he can put his tools on separately and bypass his quick change. Personally, I like using the quick change. So this is the block that I've made, and this is going to be the video of how I done and redone this whole assembly. So part one is what you're going to see today. And then after part one, you're going to see part two. So, no further ado, let's get to cracking on this video, slinging chips. Good day, this is Jim, and welcome to my shop. I'm going to start on a project today. And what my project is like most YouTubers, I watch a lot of other YouTubers. And I've been, I apologize, I've been doing a lot of racing stuff lately too. So one of the things that I've watched and seen a lot of is, I'm going to lay this out here for you, is my knurling tool. Now, I've used it and it works good, but I see there's room for improvement. So what the problem with it is, on my lathe, I like to keep my compound set at about 30 degrees or 29.5 for threading, even though I don't thread very often. It's just the way I was taught to run a lathe many years ago. But to do that, this knurling tool run out of size at issues. So what I did, and I may have showed this somewhere in the back, is I just took the block and modified it and cut it. But I've always had this one problem that Mr. Winkler at Winky's Workshop complained about. I've redone this completely, done a lot of different stuff, changed the bolts, because this is a basically like a knockoff scissor type knurling tool, which is the best knurling tool, one of the best designs to use on small lathes. Well, one of the problems you have is you get this right here. Now, what he did, he likes to take his tool blocks off. On South Bends, he complains, I'm afraid this way, I don't like to wiggle, I want to eliminate it. So, what he done was use the piece of angle and basically takes his tool post off and on. What I'm proposing to do is make a complete new block, a one-piece block, that I can basically design this the way I want it to be. And that way he'll basically have a machine surface on it. So I've got a piece of stock that I found. So we're going to get ready and lay this thing out. And I want to lay it out in such a way that I'm going to be able to use it. And I may move this hole, put multiple holes in it, so I can have multiple mounting points depending on the size bar. This works good. It could actually stand to be back some. So what I'm going to do is get ready and kind of get an idea to lay this piece out first. I'm just kind of getting the layout idea where to saw this at. And that's kind of what my plan is. So I'm going to set this, and since I'm going to saw it two directions, I'm going to try to at least give myself about 100 thousandths in this direction, because we're going to take, and since this is rusted, I don't have to mark it with document, because I should be able to scratch me a line that I should be able to see. Yes, I can see it. You may not on camera, but that's 100 thousandths thicker. And I'm going to lay this thing up like this. and do the same thing, and we're going to saw it out of that piece of steel. So basically we're going to go 100 thou. See, that ought to give us enough to clean up and mill without having a whole lot of extra material to deal with here. All right, now I've got a layout. Let me clean and put this stuff here up. We'll move on. Okay, now what I've done is I've set this up. You've seen this fixture before. And what I've done is use the layout lines. Then this is bolted to the fixture. And we'll let the saw start sawing it off. Why mill? Well, first of all, yeah, I have that vertical bandsaw. But this is fairly thick steel. It's going to take a little while. But this way I have it machined out, or rough, you know, what I'm doing is rough machining. For lack of a better word, that's all we're doing. So this will be a little while. I'll bring you back once it's sawed. Then we'll turn it around and clamp it the other direction. What we're basically doing is making a blank B-size hole. Now there are several ways to do this, obviously, but again, I'm not going to waste a lot of your time with the details, but this kind of details. I know you can't see from where I'm at, but what I'm doing is I'm using the scribe lines I made to put this in my fixture. We'll just tighten it up. And what this fixture does, it allows, so I could turn it long ways and saw it too, but one thing about the way this fixture's made and it's designed, do a lot of different stuff. So by doing it this way, it makes it a little easier to work with. And that's also a good handy way to do it. The original block was mounted on an XL. I'm not using these going to be on a standard size block. It's really not going to matter. Actually, I'm trying to get this thinner, closer. And I'm just going to use a standard block. It's not the length out's going to be the problem, because I want a good solid base to mount this to. And to do that, a solid block would be the best way. So there we go. We're working on it now. It'll be sawing away again. Okay, as with a lot of stock we have, this stock I know for sure, it is not true, nowhere near true, on none of the surfaces. Because what we basically have done here is sawed this stuff out of a piece of material that I have. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just set the mill up, start the mill up, and take light cuts of this big mill just to see if we can get a little thinning going on here. Oh, that got way to hell. This may not even cut on this first one. We don't know how crooked it is. I just touched it in one spot. The goal here is just to try to clean this one side up, give us something to work with. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but we're on the cut in a couple of spots. Now, if you noticed, I've actually machined 3 sides. This is going to be the last piece of it. So I'm probably, you see how thick it still is. So what I done was draw me a quick layout line, leave me at least 50 or 60 thousandths. So we're going to saw this right fast. And then we're going to machine it after that. All that is just saving all that wear and tear and milling it off. What you call using your mill, your lathe, using your saw to get rid of excess material. I didn't show the other three sides of milling. It's basically the same thing. We just line it up on the parallels and put something between it soft and square them up. So I would have had to mill 50 thousandths past the saw blade off. So you're looking at right there is almost a quarter of an inch. Right here. A little over a quarter, probably close to almost a half inch. That's just a lot to be milling off. So anytime I can saw, I'll saw. That's what this fixture's good for. Now I'm back. This is the next day, and I'm just sort of setting up to do click cut this. What I did, it's basically still a simple little milling job. I'm just squaring the block up, and one of the things I do a lot of, and you hear me talk about it quite often, that we have a lot of stock. I just pick up stock, like a lot of hobbyists, I pick up stock. So kind of what I'm going to do here, because I'm not sure what this looks like. I don't want to, I just touched it. But since I saw this, I have no idea how crooked it really is. I could be out as much as 50 thousandths. You eyeball a line to saw it. So the first thing you want to do is get it cleaned up and see where we're at. And the higher up the block we go, the more we take it off. So obviously a saw isn't very accurate. But it saves me making a bunch of cuts and turning this an 1/8 of an inch piece of steel into chips. So that's the reason I sawed it. And that's also the reason I like my fixtures too. So basically I'm going to finish milling this. I allowed enough material here that I can take another 20 thousandths or so and just get it milled flat. I love my face mills. So basically that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully when this one comes out it'll be clear, and then all we got to do is square each ends up. We'll have the block prepared to do the machining. There's not a lot of machining on this actually. It's basically the hardest piece is cutting the dovetail. It's basically going to cut the dovetail on one end and drill half a hole in the other. That's kind of what the plan is today. As long as I get this cleaned up good, I'll check the size. The size isn't really critical, but I will check it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed part 1. I'll come back and finish this in part 2 for you. I want to thank everybody who subscribed to my channel, all the people who like the machining. I apologize for not having a lot of machining content here lately, but I do projects as I see to do projects, and this is just something that struck my eye. So, I hope you enjoyed part 1. Hopefully you'll come back and see part 2. So, with no further ado, you guys have a great day, and see you in the next video. And don't forget, this is a copyright production of James Dedman Saw Logs Plastic Hubs. Have a great day.